Hello, hello! Welcome to one more KieLive session. Today we are going to talk about dashboards. How?
Oh, that's awesome. How
Yeah,
are you,
because
Karina?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Alex. When we are working with business processes, the most common thing is for the in the end of the BPM practice, we need to see the data that we have gathered during the process execution. We need to show it in a good way for the business people to look at it and take decisions, make decisions. So in order to do that, we need to know how we can create good dashboards. And in JBPM, in Red Hat Process Automation Manager, we have dash builder component that allows us to create dashboards. And today we are going to explore a little bit more on how we can model these layouts per channel.
Yeah, and that's a very helpful tool that we provide, shipped out of the box as part of the product or our community, and it provides mechanisms to you graphical KPIs. You build your KPIs and show graphically in a nicely tool that we'll see. William, that is our speaker today, show how to create these layouts.
Indeed. So let me bring William. Hello, William. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. William, so do you have, I'm just curious, do you have any demos for today?
Yes, I have some fun demos. Hope
Yay,
you enjoy it.
demo! Awesome, guys. So, just a quick intro before we start. William has been working with JVPM for many, many years already, and he's one of the core developers of Dash Builder. So, he's the guy to talk about this topic. So, Porcelli, any last comments before we get started?
No, I'm eager to see what William will show us today.
William, so you can share your screen and we can get started. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello.
Yes, and please use the comments so we can interrupt William if needed to ask those your questions. Take this
Indeed.
opportunity to talk to a core developer, a core engineer working on the key portfolio.
Yes, so we will be in the backstage. We are also following the chat. And William, the stage is yours.
Okay, all right. I hope you guys can see my screen very well. So today we will be talking about Dash Builder, and we will be focusing our talk specifically on the Layout API, which is the part where we visually create our dashboards. But before getting started, let's remember what is Dash Builder. Dash Builder is a web application that allows business users, to create dashboards, and it is part of Business Central. So if you are working with the ABPM and you see any chart inside the web application called Business Central, that chart comes actually from Dash Builder. It's integrated inside Business Central. But we also can run Dash Builder separately using another web application that I will show today. So with Dash Builder, we have two main concepts. One is related to data sets, which is basically how we tell Dash Builder where our data is located. So with data sets, we can tell Dash Builder that the data that we use for dashboards will come from CSV files, from SQL, or other sources that you can see here on the screen. And you can also create your own data set using this type called bin, where you use Java programming to build your own data set. But our focus today is on the Layout API. And, the Layout Manager. And the Layout Manager, you can find it inside the Pages tool in Business Central or in the Content Manager in Dash Builder. And what it allows you to do is the Layout Manager is what is behind every page of Business Central, for example. So every page, it has a layout, it has a perspective, and it may have a layout that is built by the Layout Manager. And the Content Manager allows you to access this tool and also change the navigation, which I will talk a little more in a few slides. So when you access the Content Manager, you can create pages, and each page is composed of this structure, which is based on rows and columns. And the layout manager is the tool behind this page editor here. So when you are editing a page, you can add rows and you can add columns to each row, or you can add multiple components to the same column. And everything is all together on this page, and you can preview your work by clicking on this. And this is all do the layout manager. And I hope it will be clear when I switch to the practical part. But basically, it's based on row and columns. Who worked with Bootstrap, for example, knows this. And also who is now working with the CSS grid system knows how this kind of pages are built. And each of the components that is in the page, so each of these parts of the page, it has a component inside it. And each of these components, you can edit on this right side here. You can edit the CSS properties for each component. And what can you edit? Basically, you can add everything related to the sizing of the component, and the container also can be changed, the margin and the padding, and the text that inside that component. And it does not matter what is inside that row. This will be applied to the component, the parent component of what is inside here. Talking about what is inside of this component, we have different kind of components that can be placed inside the page. So the first one are the static components that makes no use of data. For example, HTML, you can place a piece of HTML inside your page and it will not use dataset at all. We can also have one page embedded in other pages using navigation components. So you can have reusable pages inside another page. Then we have dynamic components where the visualization will change according to the dataset. So dynamic components are tied to a dataset. And finally, we have external components that can be static or dynamic, but important to say that we build these components. So you can use your CSS, JavaScript, React abilities to create your own component and then bring to inside your page. And when we use external components, we are free to use any kind of technology. So you see the page here. When you use external components, the layout manager will only control the row, the columns, but what is inside this part of the page, you can control using any kind of technology you want. Okay, so part of the static components, you will see that are located as part of the core components, and they are basically HTML, where you place any sort of HTML you want. You can also embed other pages inside your dashboard page. So think that you can have parts of dashboard that are like cards, and when creating one page, you can bring this other page inside, and it will behave as a card of that page or as a full page that are composed of other pages. So you are free to do any kind of page you want and then compose bigger pages with more complex solutions, complex visualizations. And one thing that's very cool about Dash Builder, and I like it, is the ability to embed a group of pages inside our other page. This is what we call navigation. And we have quite a few components to build the navigation. So let's say that you have a group of pages that are only about sales and you want to bring all that pages inside another one. You can then use one of these components, and it will build the navigation to that group of pages using different ways. For example, we can have a menu, just the way we see in web applications. We can have tab-based navigation, or this very cool carousel. Then a tree, it can build a tree that you can navigate to that group of pages, or tiles-based. And some navigation components will require you to design a part of the page where the actual navigation will happen. And to do that, we use target div. I hope to show everything in our demo. And then we have the dynamic components called reporting components. So we provide with the Dash Builder a lot of components that allows you to build reporting. So we have bar chart, pie chart, line, area, bubble, and more. And what is important about this is that you can drag it to the page, but without your data set, it will have no meaning, just a sample data. So when you are willing to use some of these components, you must think about the data set behind it as well. And one component that I hope to highlight today is the metric component, because in my opinion, it is very powerful, but it's not very well known. Because when you bring it to the page, you can edit the how the data will be displayed here. So we have some out of the box ready for use, but you can write your own CSS and JavaScript to build any way you want to display the information. And as I said, we have also external components. These are some external components that was built by the community. For example, you see here that's just a bar chart, but it looks completely different from this. And the reason is that this bar chart is based on vector charts. So we can use any kind of charts API we want. If you are not good with, if you want to use any other API that are not compatible with the ones that we bring inside Dash Builder, you are free to do so. And you can also create your own kind of visualization. So here, for example, on the right side, we have the heat map that's now part of the Dash Builder and Business Central. And this visualization here is not at all related to reporting, for example. It's something that we created based on what we needed to do. So this needs to load the SVG, this needs to load the data set and convert to hits. Everything was done with pure JavaScript and React, actually not pure JavaScript, but React, TypeScript, and then was bring to Dash Builder. And you can also have dynamic components like this time series here, that's also part of Dash Builder. And it's dynamic because it animates the visualization, so this kind of thing is possible using external components. And finally, you can bring any powerful API. So for example, this was contributed by my colleague Des, and she created this way of visualizing maps that would load the map online. So it's something very heavy that we don't have inside Dash Builder, but you could do using external components. And all the layouts, sorry if it's not looking good, but I just wanted to tell you that all the layout you see, it can be represented by JSON. So when we are on your page, what's happening behind the scenes is that we are building JSON that is it's the representation of the same thing that you see visually. Since the JSON is the core of the layout manager, we also have a Java API, and with the Java API, you can write pure Java code to build your page. And with this dev mode, I don't know if I will have time to show you, but we can have other sessions to show it as well. With this dev mode, you can develop in Java while seeing the results in a browser. This is a very cool way to build dashboards, but it's not for business users. It's for developers. Of course, if you use tools like JBang, you can have an automated way to generate dashboards. So that's why it's very cool to create dashboards using Java. And also we have, if you go to this URL, I put there some dashboards. We plan to add a lot of other dashboards with a lot of different data to visualize. But in this page...
Hey, William, sorry to interrupt you as you land in the sample dashboard, but we have a question in the previous slide about this Java API. The question is, how is this live reload working with the DSL?
That's a very good question. And the way it works is that we have other tool that is used only to visualize dashboards. So this other tool, it does not have the content manager in HTML, for example. Um, it just visualize what you exported from the Business Central. And we can run that other tool in dev mode. And when we do that, it listens for changes in the zip file that we exported. So when we run the Java code on the right side, we export the zip file, and then that tool listens to the new file and updates the visualization.
Oh, that's cool. So you're listening for file change, and then automatically behind the scenes you update, and the experiences become seamless for while you're developing.
Exactly. And
Great.
that's possible because this tool, which is the Dash Builder runtime, it's very lightweight. So we can deploy and remove data sets as we develop, because since it's very fast, we don't have we don't have slowness, so it's easy to refresh everything, live reload everything.
That's cool. Thank you very much. So please proceed. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So we have these sample dashboards here, and soon we will open for contribution. So we don't want to focus on business dashboards. We want to have different ideas going on. So for example, we have a dashboard to show metal bands across the world. And this is a data set that we can grab from the internet and build dashboard. So you don't have to, have all the business stuff installed to play with dashboards. Of course, if you want, Dashbuilder will support accessing business data from SQL database or from the BPM directly. This is all supported, but it's also possible, to build your own kind of dashboard using CSV that you can grab from Kaggle, for example. I will show in a minute. And we also use this website to create some internet dashboards that explores open data. So we have this movement of open data where governments and NGOs puts data in the internet for everyone to consume and build applications with it. We can use this data to build also dashboards. So if you are not into exactly business dashboards, you can grab open data and build dashboards and then publish in the internet using Dashbuilder. Finally, I wanted to create some dashboards with you. I have no idea what I will be creating. I will try to reproduce some dashboards that I created before. And the reason is that I didn't plan anything is that we can go, you can interact with me, so you can have questions and how I do something and I try to do, and we can explore the layout manager. And what I'm going to be using is the Dashbuilder web app, which is a web app only with the Dashbuilder designer. So it's like Business Central, but it's only focused on creating dashboards. And you can access that in your machine by running this Docker image. Okay, so I'm going to Dashbuilder. Porcelli, feel free to interrupt me if we have any question.
Sure, I will. Thank you.
Okay, so here is Dashbuilder web app. If you go here, I already created some data sets. And as I say, data sets can be from any source of data from the internet, but our focus today is on the manager. So I'm going here to the content manager. And on the left side, I have some pages that I created. But let's create a new one. Here's the new page. As I said, we have static components. I can drag here static components, and it does not ask for data. That's because it's just a piece of HTML that we can place on the page. So, for example, we can use this visual editor to create a component that contains only HTML. We can preview what is done, and we can click on it. You see on the right side that it selected the components, and we can change some properties. So for example, I can change the background color. I can add some margin and things like that. I'm not very good with the design, so probably it won't look very good, so I will limit myself on doing this. And then we have the navigation components. Let me drag it here. Oops, sorry. Let me open it here. Let me drag a target div. So this is the part of the page where the navigation component will know how to place the page navigation. So let me drag, for example, a menu bar. And when I drag it, I have to select the group where all the pages will be in. I selected the default item. And then I have the navigation inside my page. So I can bring other pages inside my live page. And you may be wondering where these groups coming from. So let me save this so I will not lose my work. Let me close. And on the right side, you see here, there's a navigation menu. And this is where the navigation groups come from. So I can just create. Of course, since I'm changing may break everything, but live is. I'm creating here a new group of navigation, and I can add pages to it. Let me add this Disney Movies page. Let me add another page here. Metal bands. Not related at all, but it's interesting to see. So I create a new navigation group. Now I can go to my live page. I can edit the navigation component, and I can point to my new group, save. Now I have other pages embedded inside this page here. It may be slow because it's loaded a big CSV from the internet. Okay, so let me show you other navigation components real quickly. So let me, for example, I like this tab list. It's other way to navigate. Default item, for example. I think I probably messed with this page and forgot. But yeah, these are the navigation components. Let me save the page. Remove the navigation. And as I said, we have also dynamic components that needs data to run. So let me drag here a bar chart. I'm grabbing from the left a bar chart. I will add it to another row. I can select. Yeah, I have a lot of data, so, and I can edit everything about the data when I'm putting the displayer here. So the displayer is just any way to visualize the data, and when I am selecting the data for this displayer, I can modify how it looks like on the right side. Please do it because it's not looking very well. And then I can change the representation. I can slice the data set differently here. So I am using this Disney movie data set, but I could, I'm summing all the total gross for each category or each genre. But I could, for example, count the titles by genre. So here now I will have the sum of all the movies by genre, grouped by genre. And I can also come here and then, for example, filter any way I want. So for example, begin here, I can have.
I have, let you finish this first, but we have a question.
What's the question?
Okay, the question is, would you recommend to filter the columns on the data set or direct on the displayer?
That's a very good question. So I will answer in two ways. If you are looking for more performance, you can have different data sets already filtered, so that will have better performance. But sometimes you don't have this option, of filtering the data set. So you have a big CSV, and in this case, you can filter here, but the performance will suffer a little because it's done it will have to go to the dataset, filter it, do the filter operation, and brings to the view. So if you are able to split in smaller datasets, I would say that in performance reasons, that would be the good alternative. But filtering here is very good because it allows you to explore the same data with different points of view. So I will show in a minute other dashboard where we have the same data, but we see it from different point of view, different dimensions. So if we are concerned about performance, filtering the data set, keep smaller data sets already filtered, that's something that you can do. But if you have a big data set, which is the case for the middle band, for example, that you can split, you can also filter here.
Thank you very much. Very clear, very clear. Thank you.
So, for example, I can have, I may want to have on, let me see, only moves that, see if I can put the data here. And for example, once only move that earned more than a certain value. Anyway, you can explore filtering here. And the data, the visualization will change according to that. So, as I said, we have a lot of other ways to show the data using this reporting components. What I call displayer are actually the reporting components. So this will probably break. So I have here pie chart, which is not recommended, as you know, but I can see the same data with other components, and we can keep going. Let me show you what I just said about the same data set with different dimensions. So I have here the same data set moves, Disney moves, where I have a list of all the Disney moves. So I add all the moves here. It's the same data set with different report components. So here I have the share by January, and I count the moves by year. So you can see that in 1995 was the year that Disney most released movies. I think King Lion was released this year or here, I don't know. And then we have here the total gross for each January. And look how Interagency is been able to see the same data with different dimensions. So we can see here that Disney released more comet moves, but what brought more money to Disney was adventure moves. So you can do this kind of comparisons, and you can also click here, and you will filter the report, and then we can see only comet moves now by year, and the total gross by comet moves. And you can add other filters. So now you have the sum of these two Januaries by year, and you can compare specifically these two Januaries.
Okay, so let me just try to understand. So when you are interacting with this pie chart and you click on one of them, what you're doing, actually, you're filtering the data set to the roll it out in the bottom charts. So if you click it there, you are filtering by just a comedy or action or horror, and you go roll out this to the bottom. Is it?
Exactly. That's correct. So talking about filtering, we can let me clean here. We can in the report, you may have noticed this filter here. So let me drag a component, a bar chart again. Let me use Disney moves again because it's here, and then increase the size.
Oh, we have a couple of interesting questions from Hugo. First question. Will you cover in this demo more types of data sets, what we have available? You started with some options, but are you planning to dig in? I don't think so, given the time constraint, right?
Not today, but we can do another time. And we also have blog posts on key.blog where you can see a lot about other data sets.
And the trickiest question is that, can Dash Builder replace Grafana?
Yeah, so Grafana is more used for time series analysis. So when you have a data that is changed across time and you want to analyze in Grafana, you want to analyze it, Grafana is the best tool for that. But Dash Builder, it can do that as well. But Dash Builder is very good to do this here with his group data and filter. So these are two things about business dashboards where you slice and filter. These are two requirements to build business dashboards. Can you do that with Grafana? You can. That's the same way that you can analyze time series with Dash Builder. But I think the focus is different. So you can do almost everything that Grafana does inside Dash Builder, but you may see that something will be more difficult in Dash Builder and easier in Grafana, and the same way around. So if you go to Grafana, sometimes you will have trouble doing this kind of grouping and filtering, and it will be easier in Dash Builder.
Yeah, and just to complement the previous question, Hugo asking about connectors data sets for Kafka, Elasticsearch. Do we have those?
Yeah, we have Elasticsearch. We have Kafka in a way that we create a data set out of Kafka metrics. So Kafka collect metrics about everything that's going on and use MBeans for that. So if you want, for example, to use Prometheus, you will have to install a agent on Kafka that will collect the metrics and build Prometheus time series. What we do with Dash Builder, we go directly to Kafka and takes all the metrics and build a data set.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you very much. I hope that will clarify your question, Hugo. And I'll let you finish, William.
Sure. So to finish, I talked about filtering. So when you have any component here, in reporting component, any dynamic component, and you go to display, you have filter here. And when it's enabled, and when it's listening to others, it means that others components can filter this component specifically, or this component can filter other components. To clarify that, let me drag this here. Now let me drag a pie chart. Same thing. I'll go a little fast. So when I click here, it filters the pie chart here. I can click the filter, it will remove the filter, and when I click here, it filters the bar chart there. If you don't want this behavior, for example, if you want only the bar chart to filter the pie chart, you can go here, edit, go to filter, and do not listen anymore to others. So when I click here, nothing happens anymore. But when I click here, it filters the pie chart. And if you don't want to choose a chart, we have filtering components. So I can come here, for example. There are quite a few. Not title. Title is not good to filter. But here I have the January. Let me just remove the title. And now you can use this component that's specifically to filtering. And notice that I turned off the filter here. So I can now not notify others anymore. Also here, a filter, and also not notify others anymore. Now if we click here, nothing happens, but this is the main filter of the page, and you can filter the page. And finally, one last thing, Porcelli, if I have time, what I wanted to show, that's really quick, I hope. I will not build myself, but I will show what I plan to build. So see this looks like a static HTML, but if you edit it, it is a component of type metric, which I think that is the most underrated component in Dash Builder, because you can show a number in this component, but you can change the view of it. So you can have any kind of HTML here. So for example, let me change to H1, for example. and it will show the data any way you want. And if you go here, this kind of component it accepts only one value. So I grab all the moves from Netflix from this data set. Oh, sorry, all the titles from Netflix. I filter it to use only movie. So you see here my filter. And then I counted the number of titles that are of type movie. And it return a number. So in my match component, I just refer to that number here. And then I build the HTML around it. And if you want to measure the value, you can build any kind of JavaScript where the value will be also here, and you can change, for example, font color count to the value. So let's say that you have a expense by month, and if the expense cross some number that you don't want it to cross, you can just do your logic here to change the view according to that. So this is a very powerful component, and I think that not a lot of people is aware of it. And remember that the data set could be anything. So you could have metrics from Kafka, you could have something from Prometheus. So anything that you want to measure, you can have it here. Just remember to change JavaScript and HTML according to what you want, and it should work. So I think we are done, Porcelli.
Thank you very much, William. That was, and indeed, this component is very under the radar, I'd say. So hopefully people will, after your call here, people will take more advantage of that, because it's super flexible. It's impressive what you can do with number, right? And you can use the flexible layout that Dashbuilder has to put a lot of numbers and build like a tile visualization of numbers. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that once we start doing the dashboard itself and start using the piece of the page, that's where we release the full power of Dashbuilder. Because it's very easy to bring another page embedded to other one. So you can have, for example, a component that's a tile, so you reuse in other dashboards. So your work is very easily reusable without having to write code or doing something that requires more technical users.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, William, thank you very much for your presentation today. I think it was very helpful. A lot of questions was answered in our chat. So thank you again for being part of that. And I have the privileged knowledge to know that so much more cool stuff are coming to Dashbuilder, right?
Exactly. So we are preparing a new Dashbuilder runtime. So it will be based on Quarks, and the reload is really, really fast. We start it in less than 5 seconds, I think. It starts just quick. I mean, 5 seconds in my big installation. The distribution should be 2 or 1 second to start, because it's based on Quarks. So no more application server, and easy to scale. And we are also working in the visual part that I can't tell too much because it's still going on, but we have a lot of exciting stuff to come.
That's awesome. So you have pre-invited here. Once these new features, new things coming out, you return here to show us and all the audience this new cool stuff.
Sure thing. I will be back if you want so.
Okay. We are a little bit over time today. So I want to thank you, all of you, to be part of this KieLive session here with us on the chat or in watching this video. I would like you to remember to subscribe and like the video, so it helps the algorithm behind that. And hope to see you next week. See you. Bye-bye.